Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday morning with us. It's extremely critical, and it's an honor for me to have you all with your, Sunday morning breakfast, your coffees, your tea. And just to say that we are all together, blessed, together in this platform, united, with our loved ones next to us. And there's no greater blessing than this. So please thank God that we are all safe, we are all home. Few of us have gone through COVID. We've all battled this so-called enemy at some level. But by the end of the day, just count our blessings every day. All right, friends. As we said, welcome to Remarkable. Welcome to a platform that promises to bring you stories of sense and not sensation. It's been my mission after I quit my beautiful job with 20 years of journalism. I decided to start something that could be of some value to the society in different ways. And one way today is on mental health. This is the mental health month. And I felt it's just right to speak about this so-called hidden fear that each one of us are facing today. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're a head honcho in a corporate world, whether you're a fourth standard kid, or whether you're a homemaker. We're all in it together. Good morning, my dear friends. And I truly mean this morning is good morning, a very good morning, because we are amidst our loved ones, as I said. It is a blessing to have our loved ones around us. It is truly a blessing to express gratitude in the smallest way. And as the world-renowned poet Rabindranath Tagore beautifully said when he penned his thoughts, that the mind is without fear and the head is held high. And well, into the heaven of freedom, let my country awake. However, today, ladies and gentlemen, the virus has gripped us with fear. Our head is lying low, but we are all in it together. We are all in it together fighting this crazy pandemic. Our state of mind today is saying, what if and what next? And we are seeking answers to enjoy our freedom, which we had just almost 1.5 years ago. The fact remains that we humans tend to focus on the negative. We always tend to go towards, oh my God, now what? Now is it going to grip me? Is my family safe? For sure, everyone's battling with these questions. But amidst all the rush and gush of emotions and feelings, we're looking at calm, and we're looking at calm from each other. Today, mankind has been brought down to its knees, for sure. But I wish to believe that humanity, in many cases, has risen up to this occasion. And one human being who I would like to say who has risen up to this occasion from March 2020 is my honorable guest speaker today, Dr. Swapna Patkar. She runs her own health group. She is a clinical psychologist, a wellness expert. She has been on ground zero since March 2020 till date, supporting COVID patients, COVID warriors, medical staff, ground staff. And Dr. Swapna Patkar successfully deals with teens, deals with kids, and also runs her organization called MindWorks, which is for corporate training. And her organization got Dreams and Happiness, Wellness, where she deals with all kinds of emotional issues, people who are grappling with therapy issues, depression as well. The beauty is she's also a dream analyst. She analyzes your dream, keeping CBT in mind. Dr. Swapna Patkar, is such an honor to have you this morning on my platform. And here we are to speak about a story that is gripping us all, a fear that is gripping us all. But beyond all the knowledge, I know you're going to discuss solutions. Dr. Swapna Patkar, what is the ground reality today when we speak about this unknown enemy? The platform is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rima, for calling me one more time, and you're kind enough to help people and give them solutions. I'm so happy that you're calling professionals and, The questions that people have in their minds get solutions that way. Really a kind job that you're doing. Now, well, if I have to talk about COVID and the situation right now, well, there are many people who are not very sure what's happening around them. I'd like to run through a PPT quickly, and then probably we could talk at length. If that's okay, I can share my screen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We look forward.
I'm calling it a COVID maze because since 2020 March, we're all moving around in that same maze. Each one is thinking about the same things and nothing is changing. Now I call it a maze because it's like a game now and you're not finding that end. When do I come out? Absolute unpredictability. Let me tell you, in the COVID times, many people are just thinking about their physical health, that I have to save myself from COVID. And they aren't thinking about various aspects which are also important with their physical health. Like, for example, mental health wasn't thought of the last year. Only in the end of the year, people realized that we are sitting at homes and doing nothing, and now it has started affecting us. But yes, this year, there are many people who are talking about mental health. Social health. Nobody is talking about social health because since we are isolated, since people are not meeting anyone, slowly, steadily, you see the younger generation has lost interest in conversations at all. There are many kids who are just poking themselves into a cell phone or they are into YouTubes and they just don't want to have real time conversations even with their family. Probably because they are fed up of talking to the same people all the time, watching the same people all the time. There is no change. There is no change in geography also. Then is the emotional health. We are living in a society where girls and boys are trained differently emotionally. We live in a place where we are tutored how to emote or we are given guidelines how to emote. Some people can, some people cannot. Some people can express, some people cannot. And non-expression of emotions or suppressing your emotions or being stressed but not being able to speak to the people you are generally okay with is also a suffering for the mind. We see a lot of younger children who are caught up into this maze because emotionally they are not supported, they feel. When the parents are not fine, when the parents are not okay, they are going to transfer their not okay feeling to the children. They may not speak to them that way, but then the children are listening, the children are watching. And all this together, the mental health, the physical health, the social health, and the emotional health, is causing all the damage. So, all we need to do is we have to understand that there are various aspects that we need to consider, not just the physical part of it. Also, when I have to tell you, there is a craziness going on in each one's mind. Now, what is this craziness? Uncertainty and unpredictability. There are many people who would walk up to me and ask me, "Ye sab kab khatam hoga? When are we getting off this? Will it be over by December? Will it be over by Diwali? Will we celebrate Diwali this time?" Somebody just asked me, "Madam, Ganpati rakhna hai, ye time ho payega kya?" I'm just getting very fizzy about it. So people have various issues about unpredictability. Today, if you tell people that COVID will be over by 2040, people will plan their life in that way. Right now, the problem is that nobody is able to give that fixed answer that, okay, this is the time and this is the year, this is the month when COVID will go. So, uncertainty and unpredictability of various things, of jobs, of timings, of everything is causing the damage. There is a lot of unplanned time. The kids do not have a schedule at all, though the online classes are going on. Everything is unplanned. There was a time when kids used to get ready at a certain time because they have to leave for school. Now I see so many children, they wake up 5 minutes before their online class and they would just sit with their brush in their hand. So many mothers have that complaint. Also, even when they watch their parents, feeling hopeless about the situation, like dad says, "Kya karna hai? Theek hai na, on karo, baitho." This is a language that also matters to children. So we ourselves are demotivating with ourselves with the language. Now work from home till forever ho gaya hai. Because when you used to go to office, there was a time you used to leave from office also. Now that you are at home, It's like a 24/7 kind of a job because you're always at the laptop. Same GPS location, constantly you're at home. Then there is a lot of WhatsApp university data that is coming to you. You're constantly talking about some or the other disaster. At least in 2020, people were talking about something happening 200 kilometers away. Now in this year, people are talking about their own families, their near and dear ones. So it's got closer now. And then there is constant sending of messages and solutions. नहीं आप दिन में 3 बार काढ़ा पियो आप ठीक हो जाएंगे. Please put turmeric in honey और आप दादी को दे दो सब ठीक हो जाए. I mean, everybody's got some or the other solution. Like if you have 10 confidant, if you have 10 close people will give you 10 different solutions. And if you follow all of them, you'll go mad by the end of the day. So this WhatsApp university is making people crazy. Even the media frenzy, you put the news on and you see all the nonsense all the time. Constantly there is negativity. Nobody is talking about something good happening somewhere. Everybody is talking about negativity. Like so many people died here, government is not doing anything. Then this war has started, this kind of, tsunami is coming. I mean, wahi ek baki hai abhi, tsunami. But everything else has happened now. And people are just watching negativity constantly. A fear of future possibilities is something that is discussed too much. What if?
Yeah, what if.
Parents are discussing what if too much in front of children. Of course, I understand that, what if is one big question for all. But then, though you feel your children are very young and they wouldn't understand, they are picking it up and storing in their data. And they get scared. If they watch mommy and daddy talking about, nahi, we don't know if our company will give us the pay next month. The child will think, oh my God, if my dad doesn't get the pay, what happens? Then what do we do? How do we eat? So child is also thinking on those lines. You may think that the child is too young, but everybody is caught up into this. Future possibilities. Constant screen time is a problem. Everybody is either on Instagram Reels or they are constantly on YouTube or some platform or some screen. Either it is laptop, phone, something. Visually, we've seen so many children having, problems with vision in the last 1 year. Because if they have nothing to do, the parent would say, kuch dekho na YouTube pe. Do some work, do some assignment. Now school is also online. I had this one very sweet little girl come up to me and said, all these years my parents have been telling me, don't touch the phone. Now my parents only have given me the phone and they say, now go on the phone and study. So it's such a contrast. Kids are confused with it. Sleeping late, waking up late, insomnia. Netflix and Amazon is on a high. People are spending a lot of time. It's a hysteria. People binge watch things, then you start with a web series, you want to finish it that night, sleep at 3, wake up at 9 for your classes. All this is happening. And the worst part is this is going on a cycle, monotony. Same people, same thing, same routine, everything, no change. And we don't know when that change is coming. Like people wait for some, authority to come up on Facebook Live or somewhere and speak about it and say, yeah, now everything is over. But then people sit down with a hope and then what happens is the next lockdown is announced. And that's also causing a lot of damage to everyone. Now, teen issues, if you see, there are many. The outbreak itself is like an issue because it's new for them. The way it was new for us, it's new for them too. Now, closure, complete closure, where you're not going to school, you're not going to college, and you're not meeting people is a claustrophobia for them. And please understand that they are feeling exactly the way you feel. It's not that just because they're small, they don't feel what you feel. The uncertainty that you feel, the kids are also feeling. They are missing the campus. The home has become their campus. There was a freedom away from home, away from parents. And now constantly you're on spotlight. I'm seeing so many parents who are giving instructions 24/7 to their children. Are ye nahi kiya? Are wo nahi kiya? Are now do this. So children who used to get that freedom from their home for some time are not getting that freedom. I might sound a little on the children's side when I'm saying this, but this change of geography. Imagine people who were tired going to office and said, we don't get time for home. Ask them what they feel now. All of them would want to go to office desperately. At least for a day, I want to go to office and meet my people. That's how we are. You know, now the mental health issues are many. Children are feeling restless. Children have no control over their life. And another part of it is that most children are not able to tell their problem properly. Children are not able to frame sentences and tell their parents what is actually happening to them. Anxiety, panic attacks, these are very common with teenage children these days, because they tend to want to meet people, but that's not happening. They have plans which are all crushed. Now, trust me, children who were in the 11th standard in 2020, they had so many plans that, okay, my school will be over, then I go to college and I'll do this. And imagine you have no college, because again, now the 12th standard will be online. So their 11th, 12th is gone. The ones who have studied all throughout for 10th, now suddenly the state says no exams. And then the children feel, why did I waste my time studying then? So there is so much of commotion in their own head. You know, there is holistic development which is gone for a toss right now, because the more you meet people, you're talking to them, you hold conversations, you're developing, you're growing. That growth has stopped, because families, how much will they talk to them each other? You are with them for almost a year now, and how much will you talk? What will you talk? I always tell people to engage in conversations and all that, but then there are some people who say, madam, sare conversations abhi khatam ho gaye ek saal mein, we don't know what to talk with each other. So there is silence, dead silence in families. Each one is with their phone or laptop in different corners, because each one wants privacy. Also, you know, there are many children who don't have their own rooms. They don't have privacy. They don't get their me time at all. And with teenage, me time is very important. That privacy is very important. You know, now vulnerability, if I have to speak about, they already are in a phase where they are stressed, irritated, they are growing, they are developing physically, mentally. And on top of it, when there is so much of stress, uncertainty loaded, they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do. I've seen so many children, the parents book for an appointment for a consultation, and then the children say, ma'am, my mom is around and I am not comfortable talking about my problem right now. I don't have a private space where I can speak to you. If I'm doing an online session, I want a room for myself. I don't want my parents to sit down and listen to me when I'm talking to my counselor. So this is also a problem. Some people have space constraints, and children also realize that now you can't eat from outside, you can't do this, you can't do that. There is so much of you can't in their life right now. There are certain, you know, areas where children ask, so what can I tell me what I can do, and I'll do that. It's gone there, because all the things that I would plan or all the things that I would want to do are a no right now. So what do? So they have become more rebellious, angry. They are fighting with their own parents for no reason. And then parents get all the more angry, because why don't you understand things are bad? It's like, it's a commotion. It's a total commotion. And the challenging time is not just for parents, but it's for the kids also. It's for everyone. Even toddlers, for that matter, they have problems. You know, now that there are various changes that have happened, there is a sense of isolation, change in teaching and learning. Suddenly you are put in front of a screen and teacher nahi hai, children, no children around you, and you are supposed to learn alone. Like, ask me, when I was told to take online classes, I was a little upset initially, because I don't have my students in front of me. You know, I teach in colleges, I teach in the Mumbai University, and I'm used to having children sitting across, you know, acknowledging me, clapping, talking to me. When you are sitting online and studying, it's an absolutely different atmosphere. You don't get that feel. So learning has become a little difficult. The kids do not have that sense of understanding wherein, oh, I didn't get this. How do I go back? How do I stop my teacher and tell her I didn't understand this? I can't meet my teacher. So online studies are getting very difficult for children. And some kids are missing out and they don't know how to cope up with it. Some kids just don't attend. They log in and they don't listen. And then later on they realize, oh God, now how do I manage it? Because I can't even take notes. There is no writing left anymore. No writing, because all your exams are also MCQs online. Most of them, except for boards. Now there is cut off from games and playtime completely. No outdoor activities. See, again, when I talk about family income and employment fears, it is not just for parents, but it's for children also. They are listening to what you speak. And then they have this question in their mind, Abhi main hum khana to khayenge na? There are children who, I mean, I was counseling one child, and she confessed to me, she says, my dad was constantly talking about, we don't know if this job will continue. What will happen? Will we get to eat food if he has to go away from his job? I don't know how much savings we have. Parents don't talk completely with their children. Parents are not telling children that, okay, ye job ja sakta hai, lekin mere paas paisa hai, don't worry. This conversation is not happening. So children only listen to half part of it. My job can go. And then they keep on thinking about it. Death in the family or around, or we are constantly talking, Are, that Chacha ji, he is no more now. Are, wo wahan ke hai, he is no more. Though it is not in your own family, but this thought of people around you and known people dying also causes a lot of damage in your head. There are behavioral issues in the family totally, because everybody is irritated. What happens is a child gets irritated, then a mother gets irritated, the father gets irritated, like a seesaw. When one is down, the other goes up. But now, since 1 year, everybody is down at the same time. So for each other you have to stand up. Ye formula chal nahi raha hai. Somebody has to take call, and somebody has to understand that the kids need more help. Fear of disease definitely is there. Even if you try and tell children that, okay, we can manage, we'll deal with it, then the data that they are getting from internet, YouTube and WhatsApp is crazy. There are pictures shared, there are x-rays shared, stories shared, dead bodies shown on television. I am absolutely against all that. You're showing some visuals which are not good for children. We do not have a censor on news. News is showing graphic violations, but then we can't help it. The kid should be away from the news, I feel. And then again, exams is another fear, because A, you don't know how you have studied. B, this online has made you crazy. C, you don't know how these exams go. So exam results and all this is causing all the damage. I'm sure you must be creating all the questions in your head, which I'm ready to answer. But before we go ahead, I'll just run through the tips in short. Maintain a routine, a good sleep diet. You decide how much you want to stay on the couch, because mostly people are on the couch with the laptop. The body posture of people has gone crazy. You are on the bed and studying, you're on the bed and working. So you need to understand that there has to be some routine. Structure your day, plan your day in advance, so that it's not like, okay, you wake up in the morning and ask yourself, abhi kya karna hai? Let's see. Observe your moods. Note down if you're getting angry at specific timings. Understand why you're getting irritated, of what reasons. Connect with friends for fun talks. These days people are calling each other and talking only about COVID, or about job, or about the world, or about wars. Nobody is calling each other and talking fun, nostalgia, nothing. All topics are about COVID. Limit news and WhatsApp. Decide ke, okay, din mein 1 ghanta I will listen to news. You can take a recall in the night, let's say around 7:38, lunch, dinner time. You can just sit and watch news for 1 hour, so that you know what is happening. You don't need to watch it whole day. I've seen households which has news going on from morning to night. They just put on the news channel and they move around. So constantly you're listening to it. Avoid overdoing of eating, sleeping, smoking, drinking. That has increased. When people have no kaam dhanda, they will keep eating. So anything over is not going to do good to you. Declutter your home, your cupboard and your mind. People have lost it. हाँ ठीक है ना, क्या करना है, डाल दो सब cupboard में एक ही साथ में. Organization is gone from your life completely. So you need to declutter and get back to organization. Helping others is very important. When you're in trouble, when you're in problems, the best way you can deal with yourself is to help others. Try and connect with people, try and talk to them and help them, have nice conversations with them. Time the screen time. How much time you will give to screen, you have to decide. Families can play board games. They can read together. They can listen to music together. There are different activities you can do which is not screen. YouTube and news or television or Netflix or Amazon is not the only activity left in life. There are various other things you can do. You can play carom, ludo, you can play cards, you can cook together. There are various activities that can be done together, but plan them and do them. Everything that I said right now needs a plan. And if you can really plan it, you can do it. I think with this, I have given a gist of what we really are going through and what we require, and we are more than open to all the questions. Rima, over to you. And I am very happy that I could speak all this.
Yes, I'm so glad, because what you spoke about is very pertinent, where your first sentence was, we treat boys and girls differently, and we are trained to doctor our emotions. Wow, that's a very, very scary statement, because that goes throughout our lives. That ladka hai to ro nahi sakta hai, ladki hai to ek certain decorum hai. But I, entire experience with kids, there were many, many questions that came to me from parents. I hope assurance, confidence that, these questions were addressed. Our senior category of people who are like maybe 40 plus, in the age group of 40 to 60, we are this generation which is actually highly, highly affected as well. Can we please speak about COVID and mental health? This specific category, there are corporate head honchos here who are absolutely blown, not because they are not financially stable, but for the first time in their lives, they felt that emotion plays such an important role and they can't handle it. Everything for them was logic, but they want to get that magic in their life now. So can we speak about COVID and mental health for this very vibrant population as well?
See, I'll tell you, one of the biggest changes in people's mindsets has happened this year. Many people thought that if you have the money in your pocket, you're set. You can manage anything. But then when people saw that we have the money, but we don't have the beds available, you may have everything, but resources aren't available to people who just have money, but are available to people who have good connects and good relationships with people. It was like an eye opener for many people this time. And I've seen people who were ready to say, हम double पैसा देने को तैयार है, हमको एक ventilator चाहिए, हमको एक ICU bed चाहिए, and it was not happening. So this is a different lesson that the universe has given to people, that it's not just money. Basically, it is about good connects, good relationships. And the emotional draining that has happened this time is that we were not ready for the disaster. We were still okay by mid of last year when things were happening to people somewhere else. We are comfortable and we are okay as long as things keep happening away from us. But slowly and steadily, it started entering into people's houses and lives. And that made it difficult. There are some people who have taken absolute care about their hygiene and followed all the protocols for COVID, but still they got COVID. And that's when people started realizing that this whole damn life that we plan is unpredictable. And that what's the use of making a plan is a question that came into people's mind. And specifically, I'm telling you, this age group from 35 to 45 that I see have been there, done that, learned their lessons. And when they felt that, okay, by now we know it all, universe has thrown a completely different questionnaire on them. Where are you? What are you doing? It's a complete self-awareness exercise which is happening from every individual under the sun today. And the best part about it is that at least we know we have emotional problems. There are many people who don't even realize that they're going through some mental health issue. I feel that, mental health or maybe taking help for mental health is not a taboo anymore. We've seen so many people from banks, so many people from financial institutions, and so many people from various categories of work coming in and taking mental health care. Because that's when they realize that it is not just the physical protocols that we need to follow, but we also need to take care of our mental health. I suggest to all that please don't take these as taboos. And the moment you feel that it's going beyond my capability to handle, please see a professional and take a guideline. Because I'll tell you, there is no standard problem. Each one has a different problem. And for every different problem, there is a different solution. So the major thing you need to realize is whether I can handle this or I cannot. And if you cannot, just tell yourself, I have to rise up and take help. There is no problem in taking help. Also, this universe now has, made it very easy for people to realize that you don't go low if you ask for help. So please stand up and ask for help when you feel that you're not able to handle something. And as educated people, we are blessed. We know when it's going beyond our capacity. So, I also suggest to people from this age group to observe their moods and observe themselves. Check your language, because what kind of language you use will change your life. If you wake up every morning and say, oh God, this life is so boring. Oh God, this life is so boring. You are giving a message to your own subconscious mind that life is boring. But if you change your language and say, I am better, I'm feeling better today. I'm better and I'm feeling better today. You will start feeling better. So the first thing that we need to work on is our language. The demotivating and the negative language that we have picked up in the last 1 year, we need to drop that and replace it with positive sentences and positive statements. I am happy. Things will get better. I see light. I will change. Things will change. Things will get better. If this is the language, then there is more positivity coming in.
I mean, I'm interestingly in this interesting age group of yours, Dr. Swapna Patkar. When I battled COVID, I did positive visualization. I did positive talks. I tried my best to survive in isolation. But one thing, what you said, I did. I realized that I am going through anxiety. I was self-aware. The moment I realized I was going through anxiety, I addressed it. I caught the right person to get me out of it. So I think your message is very clear. Do not hide this fear of saying, oh, I'm anxious, but I'm not going to speak about it. That's why the session says when the virus affects you, talk it out. Please talk it out to your loved ones, your family, your friend, your doctor. I did not self-medicate. I went to an expert because I said, look, I have to get out of this for my husband, for my children, for whatever. I don't want to live like that. I was anxious. Let me be honest. I'm so-called strong, but I was really having that innate fear. What next? But yes, thank you for this message that mental health should not be considered as a taboo. It's not because your body is hurting you, go to a doctor. If your mind is not working right, go to a doctor. It is not a taboo to go to a counselor or a psychologist anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, yes.
Brilliant. So I think this is a very strong message that if you feel fear, no harm in going and consulting a counselor or somebody who can be a talk buddy, who can speak you out of this whole experience. Dr. Patkar, we move on to a very interesting question. This question is about, few people have asked me this, it's very sensitive. They're obviously, I know them, but it's anonymous, about broken relationships. There is a problem between couples and they don't want to break. They definitely don't want to break, but they want to survive, but they want to know, like, how do we see the magic back again, please? Couples, I'm telling you the number, 5 of them in my chat box. Thank you. They love each other, but they're finding it difficult to connect now.
No, this is a very interesting topic, and I'm really happy talking about it because I'm dealing with it. There are many people who are fighting because they can't meet each other. And there are many who are fighting because they are closed with each other in a house. So it's a very complex situation. I've seen a few couples who have taken appointments and said that, we are just online for last 1 year. We can't meet. And I think this is like a long distance relationship from Bandra to Vasai. And I don't want to be in a long distance relationship. I signed up for a normal relationship. So this is one problem. And then there is another problem where people say that just being together all the time is causing all the damage. There is no distance at all. Generally, when you go to work, couples meet each other only in the night for 2 to 3 hours. They discuss about their work, their life, and there's a change, there's a difference. You go to different worlds and you come back. But here right now the world is same, the topics are same, the stress is same, and you're constantly talking to each other about the same damn thing. Now, one suggestion I had given to one couple, I will share it with you. I'll not take the names, but they are quite a known couple in the film industry. And I told them that just stop talking to each other for the next 7 days. Tell each other that you will not talk to each other. But on a daily basis, you have to write a one small page letter to each other about what you feel. And trust me, they used to smile reading each other's letters for 7 days. And when they were told that, no, you're not speaking, they all the more wanted to speak. The human mind, you tell a human mind to not do something, it will want to do it. So I just told them to keep distance for 7 days. There is too much of interaction happening with each other and nothing else. There are people who have started, couples who've started fighting. Okay, how many calls do you get in a day? Who's messaging you constantly? On phones, they are having issues. Like, whose message is it? So I suggest to such couples that if there is so much of entangling and interaction happening and you're just not getting your me times, then you have to cut off for 7 days. Just talk for duties like your food and everything, but don't talk about anything that will cause controversy and damage. But at the end of the day, do write a small letter. These small books kids have in first and second standard, even that much of a page is okay. But write a one-page letter to each other, give it to each other in the night, read and sleep, and then wait for that next morning and to write a letter again and give it to each other. In 7 days, I saw this couple, they took an appointment, and I said, this really worked, because maybe what we wanted to speak, we were speaking so loud that the other person could not hear it. When I wrote, the person actually got to read what I wanted to say. Put your feelings on paper and give it to the other person, because generally when we converse, we get so aggressive that we are not able to explain properly, and then the other person also loses it and leaves the message halfway. So write the complete message and give it to the person. I am sure there will be empathy for each other. The couples should try this once, and it really works.
Wow. That's like a brilliant tip. For you said 7 days. I was in 27 days isolation, and that really worked. Because when I came back home, I was like welcomed as a hero. And a warm hug from my spouse worked. So yes, the formula to stay away probably worked in my case. So I think this is a brilliant idea. I've never heard this before, but writing letters. So thank you for this tip.
Monotony affects us, So even when you meet your partner constantly, it is monotony. So you have to break it. If you break it, you're again back to work. Like Sundays, even when people do diets, they need a cheat day. Why? It's because that cheat day will give you all the courage to handle your diet for the next 1 week.
So true, so true. There's a question that's coming to me, Dr. Swapna, about how do we deal with people passing away around us? I mean, it is not easy. Young, old. How do we? The intensity is harder today, because as you said, COVID 2020 and COVID 2021, the huge differentiator is this. It's come so close to us. So people are saying we are feeling helpless. There's a question saying I'm trying to detach from my emotions, but I'm still getting back pulled into this emotion about just people passing away. Can you please address this?
This is a very difficult question, and the answer also you might find a little difficult, because it's not easy. And you're constantly listening about people passing away on a daily basis definitely affects us. It affects me also. You know, when we listen to somebody passing away, or we know somebody's in the hospital, and oh, the person was fine yesterday but today he just passed away. These are the kind of news that you get to hear, and you're not able to cope up with them. Let me tell you, one biggest lesson that we have got this year is that everything is unpredictable. Value everything that you have. Gratitude really helps us. We
Yes.
need to practice gratitude on a daily basis. We need to thank our God for keeping us safe on a daily basis. And trust me, it's not just about thanking for us. You have to bless one other person every day. So there is a specific kind of a visualization I tell people. Like, in case if you are stressed with people passing away, I have created a visualization which not just makes you powerful, but it also helps you in passing that power to somebody else. So definitely, Rima, we should do some visualization techniques later on with some other program.
Sure.
And yes, there are ways to deal with it. The
Yes.
easiest way is to give yourself a silent 5 minutes on a daily basis. Close your eyes, watch your breath, and thank all those people who have done good to you. And bless all those people who you think need blessings. And trust me, by just doing this 5 minutes every day, it will change the fabric of your mind.
Yes. You're absolutely right. You're saying just 5 minutes. This is not the gyan of meditation or anything. Just 5 minutes to be with yourself in your own zone. It doesn't matter if you're in a crowded place, but in your own zone, and to bless somebody else. That is a beautiful thing. You share gratitude to somebody else saying that, hey, I'm okay. And you're okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
If there is someone ailing, you can bless them. If there is someone you feel is weak, you bless them.
Yes.
And the tremendous power that comes within will definitely be helpful.
Yes. Dr. Swapna, there's one more question that's coming with, we're going back to the relationship because this person is concerned. She's saying, okay, we've done the letter writing, but what if my intensity to connect with that, my spouse is far more than his or hers? I'm doing it all, but they're not reciprocating. I mean, what can I do for them to get that reciprocation to me? They're looking for justifications to love me enough. That intensity is gone down to reciprocate well.
See, I'll tell you, we can't change other people, but we can change ourselves. When we feel that things aren't happening the way we want in a relationship, we write to the other. But when we think that things aren't happening the way I want in my head, you write to yourself. I do that. I write letters to myself. And I ask myself, what do I want? At times, we don't know what we really want. If you are expecting something from someone, ask yourself, what is more important? What is it that I'm asking for? What is it that I'm looking for? What is the end result that I'm wanting? Only when you are clear with what you really want, you will be able to explain it well. And it so happens that you may not get reciprocation initially, but if you have the courage to stand up for your relationship and have patience, reciprocation is on the way. Not everybody is same. Like I mentioned earlier, some people are very expressive and some are not. If your partner is not that expressive, or if that person is not kind with words, some people cannot frame sentences of what they want to say, then you have to change your perspectives. You have to change your vision and putting across things. Is because imagine you are talking to your child. The day my child was born, my way of looking at the world changed, because every time I am alligating someone or I am behaving rash with someone, the first question I ask myself is, if this was Shan and if Shan was doing this, what would I do? And I do exactly that. And it becomes very easy for me. If let's say my partner is ignoring me, and I put my son in my partner's place, and I say, if my son was ignoring me, what would I do? Would I say get lost? No, I would try and try and try. If you really want things to work out, you have to work out things with yourself first, and then try and work out with the other person. So start self-awareness exercises, start understanding what exactly you're looking at from the other person, and then you be specific. Things
Perfect.
will definitely work. And if post trying all this doesn't work, then taking help is always there on the cards. You can get proper guideline on specific issue that you have. So that's also an option, absolutely open. If you feel that you want to work on your relationship, you're not able to do it alone, you can handhold. You can meet a counselor and take charge of your situation and start working on it.
Perfect. No, it's a very straight message you're giving that, you know, as you said, you can change yourself, but not somebody else. So expectations to the core can be, you know, an expectation, but you have to also be self-aware. As they say, you know, everybody's love language is different. Some people express it with appreciation, some people express it with service. So yes, I think as couples, we also need to get that balance right. Dr. Swapna Patkar, the other question is, of course, financial. There's this person who's writing that, how much can I'm done with my resources. I am really worried. Sometimes I get suicidal thoughts. It's a tough one. This person is saying he's getting suicidal thoughts, saying that, what can I do? God forbid, I'm finished with my resources. If I get COVID and if I need oxygen, what happens to my family? It's a tough one.
It's a tough one, and there are lots of people going through this. Since I said it's all unpredictable and uncertain, generally the head of the families always have this thought in their mind. So they
Absolutely.
are the ones who are responsible for taking care of everyone. And secondly, the head of the family always has to hold on tight and not tell people that there is a problem, so that they don't deviate from the mental health. So I understand totally that, you are now scared, but trust me, things are getting better. Things will get better soon, and we are heading to a closure. Though I say, if you ask me, I'll be very honest and tell you that there is no complete closure till we have vaccination done, and which will take around a year end. So maybe by around February 2022, things will be absolutely better. The COVID is here to stay for another 2 years, but it will not be a bad space. It will not be a lockdown and a situation that we are in right now. So just hold on for some time. You don't need to give up when you're just reaching at the end of the tunnel. So just hold on. And at any given point of time, if you feel that you are having wrong kind of thoughts in your mind, then please seek help from a professional. And you will get guidance not just on your mental health, but also on planning. There are people, we have resources of financial help. We have people who can guide people with their resources also. So we have rooted in people who are in the finance system who can guide people. Okay, mere paas abhi itna hi hai. How do I deal with this? How do I manage this? There are professionals who are ready to give this kind of guidance also. With this question, I also have a suggestion that all head of the families should have a detailed information written on paper. I'm not saying have a will made, signed with a lawyer and all that. No. But I have written an email to my son in 2020. In case if I have COVID, this is the number of the ambulance. This is the hospital of my preference. And this is the number, this is the person you can contact. Who is the first person you should call for help? Who is my trusted doctor who you should ask what should be done when I'm not able to answer? If you are short, money is kept here, checkbooks are here, my mediclaim is of Tata. This is my mediclaim. You have to check out, how you can redeem that. I have a cashless entry. This friend can be of help if money is needed. If the money that I've kept in the locker falls short, then this is the friend who can help for money. This is the friend who can help on medical resource. So I have given a list of all the things that my son can carry forward. There is nothing wrong in doing this. You have to equip your family with all the details of yours. Many people, they don't tell their family kahan pe kya rakha hai. you will not believe, I have even emailed my insurance policy to my son. He was very upset when I emailed it to him, and he said, why do you do that, and why are you sending me this? But I said, we have to be practical in life.
Yeah.
We have to know everything. In case if there is an emergency, I have seen people recently in Lilavati hospital. There was one patient who was the head of the family admitted, and unfortunately he was the only person who was handling the finances. He was not able to sign, so there was a procedure to take out money from his account, you know. So instead of getting into all such situations, we need to have a proper plan, and there is nothing wrong. You need to share, you need to talk to your children, even if they are teenage, even if you think that your family cannot understand, you still need to make them understand. Write it out properly and email it to people who can take this forward. So of course, this was not a part of the question, but since this question came up, I thought of sharing this because it's very important for your family. If some disaster strikes, you can't go and search for a mediclaim then. It's better to have everything handy which is concerned with the situation. Right from your bank. There are so many families who do not know that हमारा कौन सा bank है. I don't know. There are families who say that, नहीं मेरे husband का bank मुझे पता नहीं है. I have seen this happen. So educate your family on the resources, on the money that you have. And there is nothing wrong in sharing everything with them. Even if you are low, it is good to talk to them and tell them, listen, I need your support. Let's all get together and do this together. If you are giving out positive statements, everybody will stand together and fight this with you. But if you want to stay alone and resolve everything alone, you will be too stressed and suppressed.
Absolutely. Wow. Like you said, this was not a part of the question, but this was the most important part of the whole question, your answer. Because you seriously said we need to be practical and not paranoid. We need to be prepared and not go berserk in our heads. Because yes, as you said, you've planned everything and given a docket to your son, a critical docket saying that if mom goes to hospital, this is it. From the money where you can ask a friend to your Mediclaim to just everything. I think this was one of the best tips ever, because this is bang on practical tips. And I think I need to probably, get going with certain aspects of my life here. So what you said is very clear on this part, that be planned, please. Be prepared. There is no point of being paranoid. One more question coming your way is about a person who's getting disturbing dreams every night. Feeling the dream is so disturbing that it's obviously leading to sleep disturbances. Saying that not me, but somebody around me is going to get COVID tomorrow. So they have become like OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder wala scene. They are washing, cleaning just 24/7. Think COVID aa gaya. Ghar pe aa gaya, ab mere bacche ko ho jayega. So that person is not sleeping at all. How do you handle this?
See, there are many cases like these, because you watch things happening to people, then you visualize the same thing in your dreams. But there is an anti-visualization that we have created wherein you visualize positivity. Like I said, Rima, we need to have one visualization program probably for all the ones who are here, because there are certain therapies and certain ways you can do it yourself. And I wouldn't call it meditation. When the moment you call something meditation, people feel, oh God, it's so difficult. We cannot have a brain that does not think. So it's not about not thinking anything, but on a daily basis, like I said, we need to visualize positive things, repeat positive things. Repetition works on your mind. If right from morning to evening, if you are thinking about disaster, while you're sleeping, your subconscious mind is only going to release disaster thoughts in your mind. Instead, to counter that, if you can cover them with positive thoughts that things are getting better now, if this is the kind of conversations you have with yourself. Everywhere we are taught how to converse with people, business communication, relationship communication, but nobody ever has taught us how to communicate with ourselves. This communication with self is so important. Let me tell you, what you talk to yourself is going to be your life. So please talk positive with yourself and give yourself positive affirmations. I had gone to an extent and told one of my patients to stick post-its around the house. I am absolutely fine. Life is beautiful. Things are getting better. And the more you watch these post-its, it gets stuck into your head. It is not your conscious mind that is creating the problem, but it is the subconscious mind which is picking up data constantly on daily basis. If you're getting these dreams, then itself it means that you're collecting wrong data. A, stop collecting wrong data. B, start creating good data. C, concentrate on your language. Change all your negative statements into positive statements. I'll give you an example. I don't want to be ill. ये मत कहिए. Say I want to be healthy. I don't want to get COVID is a wrong statement. I'm sure I'll manage this situation. Have assertive talk with yourself, and that will change most of it. And if you can try this and do it yourself and it works out, brilliant. But if you cannot, I am here to help. If there is anyone who needs that help, they can connect with me.
Brilliant. So as you're a dream analyst, that's why this question probably came to you, because there's one parent who's again saying that, my kid's dreaming of failure, my kid's dreaming that paper mera khatam nahi hua, or main login nahi kar pai and mera paper gaya and failed. So again, you're saying the same story to this kid also, that please rework rewind your thoughts.
Right.
Stop collecting horrible data, collect good data.
Also, here I'd like to add, Rima, that with children, there is something else also you can try. Like we repeat bad things and the subconscious releases the same bad stuff in your head. If you start repeating good, happy, positive statements with children, automatically it will get into their subconscious. Like just by walking by, if your child is just sitting, you just walk by and say, it's such a nice day today, right? Just say this 15 times and the child will start feeling that the day is good. So start throwing positivity on your children. Start making positive statements. I'm sure you are studying so well, your exams are going to go fine. Just say this. Whether you really feel it or not is a different story. But start bombarding them with positive statements and you will see the change.
Yes, I'm just proud to say I somehow applied it to one of my older kids, where her maths was not so good, and then finally, I don't know, she just did very well in maths. So thank you. Maybe it just works somewhere, these positive words. So while we are moving on from relationships to dreams to financial issues, you've given us such practical tips. Real practical tips. I so appreciate it. I would definitely sum it up in the next 5 minutes because it was a 1-hour session. But my last tip, Dr. Swapna, can you give us your final tips on the general question of anxiety and stress? This is a common thing. Of course, you've summed it all beautifully, but still there are these people who've just come out of COVID. They feel, मेरे को relapse होगा तो. This is horrible feeling they're feeling. Again, they're going to get back to COVID, and that stress is killing them. That what if I'm getting back to COVID, and what if I'm going to affect my family? That stress syndrome.
See, I'll tell you, I'd like to begin with one statement. हर ताले को चाबी होती है. To every problem, there is a solution. So if you feel that there are no solutions, I'm really sorry to say, I have solutions for every problem you have. You can try your best to resolve issues, but if you don't, or if you cannot, you should meet a professional and you will definitely get help. Is one very important thing I would like to suggest here. Secondly, all the anxiety, all the stress, and all the confusions that we have are all self-created. Let's understand one thing, that they are self-created. If it is self-created, they can be self-destroyed.
Beautiful.
And we can work on it. Anxiety is a part of helplessness. It's absolutely fine to reach to a point of helplessness. It's okay. What I don't want anyone to reach to is hopelessness,
Yes.
because there is a difference between helplessness and hopelessness. It's okay to feel helpless because there are things that you don't have in your control. But please don't be hopeless. We are marching towards the solution together.
Yes.
Things will come to an end very soon, though probably a year might sound too long, but then we have lived it through till now and we will live it through till the end. For everything, there is help available. If you haven't reached out, it's your mistake. So please understand one thing, reach out to help. Like recently, I am associated with a foundation, and Amma from South, her foundation, I'm sure you must have heard of Saint Amma. And they are creating volunteers who could just talk to people and ease them out. So I'm training certain people, the kids and the younger generation, to be volunteers to speak for mental health. So there are resources available. If there is COVID at home and you don't have someone to cook food, there are people who are providing free food. If you feel you don't have the money, there are institutions who are ready to support you on that. So help is available, ample. The problem is you don't know it. Reach out to right kind of people, reach out to help groups, and you will get every possible help. Join help groups, try and help as many people as you want. I can connect you with so many people who are doing service to society. You can be a warrior yourself sitting at home. Write good stuff, post good stuff on social media. That is also a service to mankind right now, because when we have so much of negativity floating around, if you write a good piece, it's so much of relief to so many people.
So
Share some good stories, share your own stories, have a group of your family, have family meetings, discuss what problems you have and help each other. There is a Jain family in Malad. So there was one guy from the family who approached me and said that I'm going through a tension. Our shop is closed for so many days and all that. And everybody in the family is now suffering. What do we do? So I told them to create a WhatsApp group and told them to have Zoom. And every Saturday evening, 7:30 to 8:30, everybody has to join in and discuss. From the moment they started doing it, these people have actually started a langar kind of a thing to provide to everybody in the society. And their fears and everything is just gone. They're just working. They're just doing something for people. And they're taking help from their relatives, community. And it's all a happy game if you are involving people into it and if you are together into it. Family meetings really work. Everybody gets a chance to speak what they feel. And trust me, it's very easy to advise. It's tough to advise yourself. So you can help others and others can help you. So this, if you have a good friend and if you have a family which is ready to discuss, you don't need a counselor. And on top of it, in spite of this, if you feel things are not getting sorted, we are there.
absolutely. I mean, as we kept saying, this is the Mental Health Awareness Month. May is the Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's why I decided to do a session as powerful as this, because you're saying very clearly, wake up to the reality that it's not just the physical health you go to a doctor, but if you have a little problem with the mind, it's not an embarrassment anymore. Seek help, have conversations, healthy conversations with your own family. I did that. I did that. When I suffered COVID for 27 days in isolation, I just picked up the phone and spoke to people who mattered, who I knew would bring me out. I was anxious as well. They pulled me out of anxiety on those little slumps of life when you're thinking, positive thinking kar liya to bhi thoda wo negativity aa raha hai. So, address that. Just address that and let it not become such a thing that one gentleman who asked me that I'm having suicidal thoughts. You said address it, it's not the end of the game. It's, as they said, it's the bend of the road, but not the end of the road.
Rima, one more thing, I'd like to add here. Even cardiologists get heart attack. So even mental health professionals can be anxious. or get stressed. Being stressed is okay. It is just a sign that you're a human being. That's all.
Yes.
It's not a taboo, or it's not something, oh my God, I'm such a strong person, how can I get stressed? It's okay to feel stressed. Even I feel stressed. It's just that I know the ways to deal with it. The moment you also know the ways to deal with it, you will be okay. You'll be able to deal with it on your own.
Perfect. Because as you said, we started this conversation saying that in Indian culture, in Indian society, boys are trained to think in a certain way, saying that tumko rona nahi hai. So that guy, when he's broken, he's trying his best to not show his emotion to his wife, his mother, his family, whoever, but he's getting killed within. So you're saying, don't do that. Let the Indian society go for a new thinking that boys can cry.
Absolutely. I always tell everyone, we are in it together.
Yes, we are so in it together. And that's what I started with my statement, saying we are all in it together. And just hug your family. If they're next to you today, having a nice Sunday lunch in some time now, enjoy that lunch. Because, these little pleasures of life, having dal, ghee together, just together, sitting on that damn table together, and, not fighting to, God forbid, get oxygen. Your oxygen is your family. Today, I personally feel it. Every day I send moments of gratitude to just everybody around me who helped me through COVID. My security personnel, my watchmen, my neighbors, 100% guaranteed gratitude to each one of them and my loved ones really. On this very positive note, Dr. Swapna Patkar, I would like to say a few things. Thank you, my dear, dear audience. Thank you so much. Swapna Patkar, we are getting chat messages saying, I want to be a volunteer. How can you help me? I want to join the self-help group, and they love the session. Thank you so much. This encourages me that I am probably on the right path, because as I believe, I'm not here to bring in so-called just celebrities, but people who make celebrities. So Dr. Swapna Patkar just said that she's helped a very famous Bollywood couple get out of anxiety. So we need people like you who also help celebrities and not just bring the celebrities on stage every time. You said something very interesting for couples. Please write to each other if you're not talking for some time. Distance makes the heart fonder, as they said. Thoda sa distance, write to each other, write small letters, write notes of appreciation, because it works. You said something very beautiful that for the teens and kids as a message to the parents. You're saying that please respect them. They are in the biggest situation today. They've lost their friends, they've lost Starbucks, they've lost movies, they've lost fun. They need their space. Love them, respect them, understand them, and have conversations that are real with them and not paranoia conversations that mera job ja raha hai, paise kahan se aayenge. Right, Swapna, Dr. Swapna? You also said very, very clearly to this person who was probably having not so good thoughts that 5 minutes silence to say you are okay, we all are okay. A book of gratitude saying this is going to all change, and positive affirmations. Keep telling your subconscious that, because not the negative words, but just the positive words. Have visions of positivity. Self-awareness, a very critical point. You said that if you are self-aware and you know there is a trigger of anxiety, and if you feel you can't handle this and it's going to get into depression and probably trauma, go and seek help. It's not embarrassing to go seek help anymore. Don't hide your feelings and don't get into the slump saying that mera kuch nahi ho sakta. And you said something very beautiful, which I really loved. For the first time, I understood the difference, that helplessness and hopelessness is a huge difference. I felt helpless, but now I can feel, actually, I never felt hopeless, because I saw hope in my friends, I saw hope in my neighbors, my family. So helplessness and hopelessness mein bahut bada farak hai. Understand that very well is what you said. You also said something very important, that har tale ki chabi hoti hai. There is a solution to every problem. Do not think it's all over for you. And do not think COVID is going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. Yes, it's been bad for people, but let's not make it worse, is what you're clearly saying. Have healthy conversations, have bonding sessions through different ways, not necessarily screen time. And Dr. Swapna Patkar clearly said, if my ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to me, can we do then a visualization session? If yes, please inbox me. Please write to me on WhatsApp or something. We can organize a special session on positive visualization. And trust me, I say it once again, it's not going to be chargeable. It's going to be an initiative from a remarkable stable to bring in only love and positivity. On this positive note, Dr. Swapna Patkar, do you want to just sum up with one final run through of tips so that my audience can take it down?
I think I've said enough today, and I hope that I haven't bombarded with too much information. But
No.
one thing that I would like to speak before we close is that we are all in it together. There is a solution. And if there is any help needed, we are there.
Beautiful.
Connect.
And also the very, very beautiful statement you said about financial understanding, and keep your docket ready. So be practical and fix that. You might not need it. We don't need it. None of us want that docket, but just be ready with it. It's a very practical tip. So on this very positive and auspicious note, I took 15 minutes extra from your time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for being on Remarkable. And if can, please go on to my YouTube channel and my platforms. Do like me, subscribe me, because this is what I want to do. Bring out stories of sense and not sensation, and bring in value, and not sharing those horrible images. I don't believe in that. It's all about positive, real news, rooted news. Ladies and gentlemen, a very happy Sunday, a good Sunday lunch together with family. Dr. Swapna Patkar, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much, and God bless you with more and more strength. And God bless each of my members who are with me today, all those who registered. I'm very happy to say I had 86 registrations, and I'm so glad all of you all respected what we wanted to offer you. Thank you very much. A happy Sunday and a happy, happy life ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you.